on our medical outlook today as we count down to an all-day experience every week on the Doctors Nigeria show, airing here on Newscentral from 1 o'clock daily. It takes us back to a story that was made known to the public by the police authority. A man who claims to be an Edo-based medical doctor, Abbas Adebowale, I beg your pardon, landed in the police net for injecting a cab driver, Emmanuel Agbovinwere, to death in the Benin City area of the state.
Now, Chidi Wambuzo, the police spokesperson in Edo State who disclosed Adebowale's arrest, stated that the medical doctor was a graduate of the University of Ilorin, Kwara State, and works with the Kaima General Hospital as a medical officer. This has led to numerous questions, such as what makes a human behave and think in such an irrational way? Is a mental health challenge responsible for some of these actions, such as paranoia? And while we wait for future press releases from the police force, our society is bedeviled by such tales. And so joining us this morning is Dr. Dio, who's going to be helping us, figure out some of these things. Good morning, Doc. Thanks for joining us, and good to see you again. You joined us yesterday on
morning, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. The Doctors is on Newscentral, so it's very exciting for me to join you on Breakfast Central.
Breakfast Central. Good to see you. Yesterday we spoke about drugs, and its effect on our society. Today we're talking paranoia. What exactly is paranoia, and how common, we find that in Nigerian societies?
I think the easiest way to describe it is a fascination. So now we're having a lot of people being fascinated with crime. And actually it's a normal human response. The brain pays attention to calamity. So it's a normal human response, which is supposed to sort of protect us. But in addition to this, people are also sort of getting a rush from this, paying attention to crime and following crime stories gives a bit of an adrenaline rush. And, people are sort of consuming this, to sort of have some excitement in a safe space. So this is the second reason. And the third reason why a lot of people are fascinated with crime nowadays is because, like in this story, it's like a normal medical doctor, so people are sort of watching out for signs. Like, since a lot of the crime stories we're seeing nowadays, it's like normal guy, kills a taxi driver. And also, following the story, we also discovered that the police visited his home and they found that the floor was recently tiled. They broke the floor and they found that he actually had killed 2 more people. So this story leads us to, he's a serial killer. So a serial killer defined as somebody who has killed more than 3 people. So it's a very fascinating story, and it's something that sort of is here. It's just like people's fascination with violence on social media. It's the same thing across Nigeria. Everybody's fascinated with true crime and stories such as this.
Would you say that there's an increase in such incidences happening, or an increase in reporting? Because we're starting to see a regularity with which the stories are being reported. Is it that the media is paying more attention to these stories now, and because of social media, or that they're just on the increase?
I think what has changed is editors. Editors have sort of been the vanguards of media, and editors have protected us from violent and true crime. The reason is because we understand that this has negative effects on society. However, with social media, everyone is an editor. And so we're having a lot of this news coming out. And so for us, we are sort of having to define what it is and sort of explain to people what they are feeling. Why are they so fascinated by crime? Why are they so fascinated by criminals? Why is there such a fascination about serial killers? And also a lot of people are saying that he was insane and that's why he did it. But medical research shows us that insanity is not a reason why people commit crime. And actually up to 90% of people who are serial killers, it has been proven that they actually are not insane. Yes, they have a mental health problem, and in this circumstance, usually it's a disorder, a personality disorder, what we would define as a social personality disorder, where the person is having an obvious lack of empathy, the person is obviously also not following any of the rules and thinks that laws don't apply to them, and this is prevalent in society as a mental health condition, but it's not insanity as a lot of people are saying in this story about this medical doctor who killed 3 people.
All right, I want you to quickly, just share with us, more about the fascination with crime. If you have followed the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, I think it was on Netflix or so, there's been comments, from people across the world, empathizing with him, saying that they wish he was still alive. They would have sent him cards, random things like that. So can you help us understand how the human mind works, that could get into a place where it's fascinated with murder and with such gruesome crimes?
Yeah, it's important that you say this. There's this fascination with the evil genius. First thing to say is the research has shown that most serial killers have an average IQ. So the fascination with the evil genius is actually not true. And in the other instance, it's important to say that, trying to get to know the devil better isn't going to end up well for anybody. So these guys have committed evil acts. There's a lot of fascination about this, as I explained, for 3 reasons. First, it gives a huge adrenaline rush in a safe space. It's like watching a horror movie on your social media feed, just learning about this information. Also, people are looking out for signs. They want to be sure that those living in society around them, their friends, their doctors, their neighbors, they want to be sure that they can pick up any signs that this person might be a serial killer to protect themselves. And lastly, the brain loves calamity. However, everybody needs to understand that it's not essentially healthy to sort of promote this fascination, and it's not essentially healthy to indulge excessively in true crime and in stories about serial killers.
Dr. Dayo, my brain doesn't like calamity. You've spoken extensively about
your brain doesn't like calamity, but you just talked about driving. Driving in Lagos, you have to entertain a fair amount of calamity.
Well,
and you do this very well.
I think my brain actually does love calamity.
That's a valid argument. Now, I would, prior to this conversation, not have thought about insanity and paranoia and the differences that abound. I would have just assumed that this was insanity. And of course, we know that this is happening. We're understanding this because you're bringing us information, which you will be doing every week on The Doctors. So talk to us about the show and what to expect.
Yeah, it's exciting. The Doctors on Newscentral. We do 3 things on the show. We make people laugh. We make people cry by sharing inspiring stories, and we teach them something about their health. And it's an entertainment show on Newscentral going across Africa. And, it's like a healthy dose every day on Breakfast Central, and also 1 p.m. You can watch in the afternoon. It's exciting for me. And we look forward to sharing this with Nigerians. And like you were saying about insanity, I think the reason people go for insanity is they're trying to avoid getting convicted. Because the truth is the deed has happened. Usually the person confesses to the deal, as is in this case, and he's trying to avoid the most severe conviction, because it's repulsive to everyone, and everybody wants this medical doctor to get the most severe conviction. But the law doesn't protect, and the law doesn't put the person has to prove they are insane. And it's not easy to prove you are insane, because first there has to be a family history. On The Doctors, we shared a story about a lady who killed a daughter, a Nigerian lady, and she tried to say, it was postpartum depression, but the law did not permit this because there was no history of insanity. Even though, yes, there's a mental health condition there, obviously, but this doesn't prevent the person from getting convicted and facing the full brunt of the law.
Wow. That's an interesting story. I would have easily thought it was postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. So I am certainly going to be watching The Doctors, at 1 p.m. And well done. We look forward to seeing all the amazing information that will be passed down. Thank you very much, Dr. Dayo, for joining us this morning on Breakfast.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's truly exciting.
All right.
Absolutely.